This is Nigeria, a nation with a rich tapestry of culture, history, and vibrant traditions. Nigeria's journey through television age has been a tale of innovation, glory, setback, and unyielding resilience. The story of the Nigerian television begins in the late 1950s, a time of hope and transformation. The nation's first television station, Western Nigerian Television (WNTV), flickered to life, making a revolutionary step forward. Families gathered around the screen, eager to witness the technological marvel.
Adeze, my wife, music is the best food for a good spirit.
But we should be getting ready to go to the farm.
That is what I am doing.
The 1990s heralded the golden era of Nigerian television. Shows like Checkmate, Things Fall Apart, Village Headmaster, Tales by Moonlight, and many more captivated the nation, uniting household and sparking conversations. Television became a powerful tool for cultural exchange and social cohesion.
He's been running temperature since yesterday night. Though I tried to give him some medicine, but the chemist boy refused because we are still owing him 60 naira. Any luck with the job?
When I was growing up, we had only television on the terrestrial. That is, you have an antenna up there, and then you have all the channels that you can get, and you begin to watch as you like. However, at some point, private television first was introduced. Those who were watching the government-owned NTA, of course, reduced. They had alternatives and had to watch, other ones. You now choose whether you want to watch NTA or watch AIT, at specific times.
In the realm of broadcasting, an enduring connection between earth and screen emerges through the phenomenon of terrestrial television. This broadcast method, reliant on earth-based transmitters and antenna-equipped TV receivers, serves as the best foundation of our visual engagement.
Television has several variants. Especially Nigerian television these days has several variants. The terrestrial television, which is free on the air, which we get from the air through the antenna. People get it in their homes. It is divided into, of course, different strands: government, state government, federal government, and private. But that we should get through the antenna. That's the terrestrial television getting antenna. There is a cable, there is the satellite. And people tend to confuse these different strands of television as not television. If the terrestrial television is at risk, it is not, it is at risk from itself. It's at risk from satellites. It's at risk from cable television.
Despite its glorious past, Nigerian television faced numerous challenges: limited funding, outdated infrastructure, and government control hampered creativity and quality. The once thriving television industry began to wane, losing its former glory.
When DSTV came, most stations now transfer to that platform. For example, channels may not be in all states of the country, but you can receive them in 420 DSTV. You can get them in Good TV. You can get them in some other platforms. Difference is that when AIT wanted to expand, they need to build stations in every state. And they have over 13 states, if I'm not mistaken, where they have their stations. So the cost of is enormous. But when you just go to DSTV 253, they have AIT there. AIT can be seen all over the world, all over Africa, wherever that satellite is beamed. So you see, the terrestrial television is what is being threatened. For example, ITV must need to go and ITV Benin need to go and have to belong to any of these digital platforms to survive. Yes, terrestrial television is not dying because it is not having consumers. It is dying because the quality of the content, the quality is missing. But so Nigerian television is divided basically into three strands: international television, which you have CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, DW. All these ones you can get through the satellite. Then the national television, NTA, AIT channels. These are, if you look at their content, they are national based. They seem to cover the whole country. Then you, of course, the one which we believe we might think is regressing, is that local television, state-based, ITV, EBS, Delta Broadcasting Service, and most of these state-based, you find that it's difficult to run because one, most of those televisions don't have a lot of commercial patronage. You don't have a lot of adverts, and so funding for their programming is also very difficult. So, and because of that, they also depend fully on the internet and social media for their content. Most of them don't even have reporters anywhere. What they do is just call these news from these international stations or local, national stations and pass them off as news coming from their stations. Entertainment programming is, of course, basically what they get from any of these other stations. So local production is even practically not there because of funds and some other things. So terrestrial local television is actually missing. Basically back. Most focus is on these national televisions, which you find, national television stations, which you find in the STV. And it can get anywhere. Once you can get your dish, it will get there. That's the power of satellite television. And satellite television has made television to grow. If Nigeria has decentralized fully, then the local television could strive.
Nicholas Eyabi, a TV media practitioner, also shares his view on the state of the Nigerian television.
Well, the television, as we know it, is an audiovisual box that represents life and brings life directly to us. No matter how far we may be, television seems to bring things closer. And you are right by saying that it flourished so well from 1959 to there about the year 2000, when we began to enter into the jet age or the dawning of a new millennium. And you know very well that the new millennium came rather with a lot of new innovation, new technologies. We saw the internet beginning to grasp a very, very strong hold on the media. So I basically feel that the television is something that has become a trend, just like at a period where everybody needed to gather at one time to listen to radio programs. We could remember that very much in the 40s, in the early 50s. But we saw that as the television began to gain prominence from 59 in Nigeria, persons began to reduce their commitment to radio. So therefore now, the internet, which has become the beehive of modern day entertainment, modern day trend, modern day audiovisual spectacle with mobile TVs, or let's say TVs represented in our phones, in our PCs, in our tabs, and so many other things, we have got to actually discover now that the television is gradually turning into an antique, the way we are seeing the radio. Because aside the Bluetooth speakers you have, aside the earphones you have, you get to see that it's so difficult for you to find out the family gathering. Now, it is not as a result only that it is not just because persons have stopped watching. It is because the trend is actually shifting. we are now living a world whereby everybody have to exist communally into a world where development or mind development or site development or any form of development is more individualistic. Everybody has a phone, everybody has a tab, everybody has individual access to the internet. One of the basic link we've had, because if we look at it very well, I'll tell you from the angle of the news. From the angle of the news, you see, the policies of the government at times that kind of repress the ability of the press to express themselves so much. Whether we may have all these laws being passed physically or represented by mouth, but when it comes to backing these policies with actions, we see that the government shies away from it. You can remember I think in 2020 or 2021, the famous Twitter saga that happened between the Nigerian Ministry of Information and almost creeping into the American government. Now, such kind of things actually put the persons away. Now, I'm taking it into the television. A situation whereby the programs at times are regimented, there are a lot of rules that are given, a lot of things you are to watch at a time. Now, these things, they are not basically stated openly that these laws must hold, these patterns must hold, but we see that as the social cultural representation of the society is being viewed, we find out that all these things begin to come to play. Now, you see most persons in Nigeria, rather than watch our normal television stations, they want to even view satellite stations. They want to view BBC for news. They want to view Al Jazeera for news. They want to look at CNN. They want to look at Fox 24. But they have television stations like Nigerian Television Authority here. They have, and when you ask them, most of the times, they will tell you that these stations do not replicate the yearnings of the people, and that there's limitations in what is actually passed out in these various places. So such kind of things will be a lot of missing link. The disability or the inability of the television the Nigerian television system to replicate the yearnings of the people or totally satisfy the insatiable quest for entertainment, information, luxury, sports, and the likes are one of the things that is gradually taking off the communality away from the televisions.
As Nigeria embraced the digital age, a new challenger emerged: social media. Are we about to see television go the way of paper in Nigeria? The allure of bite-sized content on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok has begun to divert their attention from traditional television. The youth found a new space to express themselves, leaving television struggling to adapt.
What I feel are the basic factors that affect television, the present day television, as you said. I would simply say, first is the rise of online streaming. Viewers can watch at their convenience wherever they see themselves or wherever they find themselves. They are free and it's flexible for them. Talking about your phones, your Android and your iOS phones and all that, so they can stay wherever they need. They can watch or go through their Netflix even if they are in a bus, in transit, or even if they are in their bedroom. Another one is mobile device and digitalization. Now everyone has a smartphone, what I mentioned earlier on. Other mobile device, your laptop and all that, which has facilitated easy access, to online content, leading to a shift away from traditional television viewing. Now people especially youth, they do not have time to go sit in front of their TV and start watching or start tuning programs that they would want to watch, but based on they have their mobile devices, their laptop, their iPad, their phone. They find it very easy to go through that. And another one I'll quickly chip in is social media and user-generated content. Social media platforms It has become so significant in our society today. Because it brings about entertainment and information. Now, not forgetting that TV, but the use of TV is to create entertainment, to create information, but now our social media has taken over. Whatever you want to find on your TV, you can find them on your social media. When you go through your social media, be it Facebook, be it Instagram, be it Twitter, be it whatever it is, your YouTube, you find out that a lot of things you can learn from. It can be educative, it has a whole lot of information, and it has a whole lot of entertainment going on there. I think it's limited. You can't find youth. It's very, very rare before you find the youth sitting in front of the TV and want to watch, except if it's sports. Even at that, your handphones, your smartphones can do that. You can go through your smartphones and get to check what the update what update sport has. But it is limited. It has limited a whole lot. I think they have left the television for the older generation, our parents, our elderly ones. For the youth now, they find it easy to have their handphones or their smartphones rather, and their laptops and their iPads, and they can do whatever they want to do instead of sitting in front of television. I think it's limited.
Vito Azu, a broadcast journalist with the Nigerian Television Authority, believes that the television is more for the older generation, while the younger ones embraces the social media.
The social media may be for the younger generation, as the older generation still watch their television as religiously as they used to watch it in those days. They also, of course, everybody converges on the social media when the need arises. But those whose mainstay the social media are the younger people. But that doesn't take away the importance of television. It doesn't take away one bit the importance of television, because, like I was saying, you can see how much of a challenge that the internet is when you have to do stuff like this on social media. It becomes so much of a problem. That's in addition to the cost of doing so. And so those who use the social media most don't use it as a replacement for television, but as an alternative. I would say ownership. I would say commercialization of news. Ownership in the sense that every television house panders to the whims and caprices of its owner. Government-owned television stations are likely to promote government far and above any other thing. Those who also work in private television stations also do the bidding of the owners of their television stations. If their owners have political interest, even if they are not the politicians, they have allies in politics. Those who work there are likely to protect the interest of the allies of its owner. It may not be as pronounced as when you work for government, but this is the truth. You cannot go against the owner of the television station where you work, except if you have another job. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. That's on one hand. Then commercialization of news. And I don't blame particularly the private television stations. Everybody has bills to pay. You have to pay workers. You have to maintain facilities. You have to make profits to keep going, among other things that you use money for. And so you have to get the money. How do you get the money? You get it from advertorials. You get it from commercial news. And third, my experience is that people don't often want to pay for the media. You find people, they organize events, they pay for the hall, the venue, they pay for logistics, they pay for everything. But when it comes to the media, they're interested in the media, but when they come, they say, help us. Forgetting that these media houses have bills to pay. So people don't want to pay. They want news. They want to be in the news, but they don't want to pay. The television stations have bills to pay, and so they have to commercialize. And then there is the problem of ownership.
The television seems to be losing its audience, and we are yet to unravel the cause of it. Ugochukwu Nelson, a digital and social media manager, has something to say about this.
First off, the television is actually still existing and it's still in vogue, and it's still competing though, but it just depends on the level of competition that it's doing, because it's faced with too many barriers at the moment. The rise of new medias, the rise of the change in content creation, the change in audience needs, audience wants, So these are a few aspects that are barriers that are actually affecting the consumption of the television as it was before. Because currently now, people are more tilted towards engaging or interactive content. The television does not do that. They just give us a production that we're not really connected with. Unlike the new media, social media, the digital platforms, we have so many content out there that are engaging. You just put your phone and you see content that you can comment in, you can talk to, you can like, you can get feedback from the actual source. So these are some of the factors, and also most of our television infrastructures are poorly funded. They are so underfunded. Electricity. How many families have constant lights in the country? How many have the purchasing power to purchase electricity? How many percentage? It's so poor that not everybody can afford it. So, but everybody can easily afford a smartphone. And with a smartphone, you can get everything you want on the social media, even more. So I believe that the rise in the new media, poor infrastructure, audience needs and wants, the change in the style in content creation are some of the factors that are affecting the push of the television media to stand in this age and making it look as if it's being pushed to the back.
Nigerian broadcast journalist Luciana Arain has her views on the major barriers to television in Nigeria.
One of the issues that affects television viewership is the content. I'll map it into ownership censorship. There is no freedom. There is no freedom of press in the television media. I have experienced a lot of those restrictions in ownership censorship. Sometime in 2017, during my industrial attachment to a particular television station, as the newbie in the industry, my blood was hot to broadcast. So there was a state. There was a demolition in that state, in the market in that state. So I accompanied my senior colleague then as an attaché to cover demolition in the market. We saw how everything went out. So we came back, we did our reports, packaged it to air. Few minutes to the news, to the time for the news to be broadcasted, a press release came from the said owners, controllers of that medium. They brought something different from what we covered. So I was pressured. I was like, this press release does not correspond with what I saw. So my boss was like, it's like you don't like your job. If this is what they say happened, this is what will go on air. And it happened that I monitored other stations. It was like the station B was contradicting with station A in that same report. So I think ownership censorship is an issue. That's why I say freedom. There is no press freedom in Nigeria. People keep saying freedom, express freedom. There is no press freedom. Another issue aside ownership censorship is political interference, partisan censorship too. It's also an issue.
Victoria Enyinaya also shares a view on ownership censorship.
When I talked about ownership being a factor that is limiting the television stations in Nigeria, I talked about it based on it being an inside-out factor. What do I mean? Ownership from the inside controls what goes outside. If the television house is controlled from the inside, definitely what goes out is being determined, right? So when I say that ownership is a limiting factor, it's based on an inside-out preference. Like there is a control from the inside that is limiting whatever they have to project on the outside. So, but whatever the audience receives outside, they don't care what's going on the inside. What they want to see is the end product. And if the end product is not pleasing to them, will they be asking, who is in charge? Who is the person in charge of this program? Who is doing this? They don't care. So ownership being a limiting factor is an inside-out preference. It's an inside-out thing. Like, is majorly affecting the inside, which is in turn affecting what is going out to the audience.
Yet, amidst the shifting landscape, Nigerian television remains determined to adapt and innovate. Industry pioneers and visionary content creators are working tirelessly to overcome barriers such as funding constraints, content relevance, and the digital divide. Collaborations with streaming platforms and fresh dynamic storytelling are breathing new life into the medium.
People say, I don't watch television these days. It's not necessarily because they don't watch television. They don't watch film on television. They don't watch films on television. They don't watch entertainment programs on television. Because entertainment programs will get on the go. You know, if you're on your YouTube, you can get any streaming station. On your YouTube, television is also on YouTube. Of course, you know that in today's age of convergence of all of the technology, convergence of the technology together. These televisions are also in social media. So you see, it's like a synergy. It's like it's a partnership. To me, I believe it's a partnership. It depends on what you know you have to do best, and you excel on that. Like I said, AIT channels, you cannot fault them. They have large viewership base. They have viewership because they are doing the right thing. They know what they want and then they go for it. And most of the times, it's information. Most television these days do not produce entertainment programs. They are left for independent producers to produce. And these independent producers take these programs to them to just air. It is that people that have an additional means of transmitting their programs. On the pay-per-view movie on the go, live streaming channels, and other channels that is now open. You know, Arise have Arise Play now. You have Showmax. You have these people are the people that to some extent are threatening television. So it's basically only the area of entertainment television, that the social media will strive. Because social media these days, you just get their skits. You open your social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, for hours. You can be watching little skits, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But once it is evening, you see, there's something you cannot do when you are using those stations, but you can do while you are watching television. Television is at the center of the home. When it is on, everybody can see it while doing other things. And you can just buy, what is this television? See, with that basics, television brings people together. It brings the family together. So even when most of these programs you see on Netflix, if they put them on television, the families still gather around to see them. And they still have a lot of adverts placed on them. So it is like a synergy, like I said, it's like a synergy. But those of you who want to see it immediately, then some of these other platforms will suffice. These other platforms will suffice. You know, of course, YouTube streams live. It streams live, and it is always there at the touch of your button, at the touch of your finger. You can always get there. Those are the things that the audience get to see. But once it comes to topical issues, when it comes to things that tends to become the agenda, it's television. Even if social media discusses it, you know, it is only an afterthought. Or they might bring it. For example, of course, we'll talk about citizen journalism or citizen. Everybody through social media. Everybody is a broadcaster. The citizen is just you're a producer. You know, whatever like that, what you produce, does it fit in to the milieu of society? So that's the fear of social media. So social media is basically there for entertainment. Even the information it gives, most of people take it with a pinch of salt. You know, so but what you need to do, what they do also do with this social media is go to these television channels, their handles. You see, they have their own handles in social media. They are not sleeping. ITV, EBS, they are all in social media.
Today, the future of Nigerian television looks gloomy. Are we going to see a potential comeback or a fall into the oblivion? Many believe that with the strategic partnership, investment in technology, and renewed focus on authentic content, the Nigerian television is going to make a compelling comeback.
You know, in those days, the most important thing to the audience, they watch drama, they watch entertainment, they watch a little bit of news. But today, you find that both old and young, everybody wants to watch news. You want to know what's happening around you and comment on it, as you would see debates on Twitter and the likes of them. But in addition to news, a strong interest in news, you find that there's a strong interest in entertainment, there's a strong interest in sports. These interests have always been there. Nigerians have always loved to watch sports. They've loved to watch music and entertainment. But as these sectors evolve, they are also following the evolution and trying to catch up on what is happening in the various sectors. At the end of the day, they all boil down to news. Entertainment news, proper information, news. You talk about every education and all the likes. So interest has become stronger because there are varieties. You have a variety of options, and then you have, the quality improves to make you become more and more interested. Unlike those who may not watch television before, maybe because the quality of programs may not be as strong as they are now. But today, you find yourself watching a lot of drama because you like the quality of movies that have been put out from Nollywood. For instance, you can't compare the quality of the movies you had then and in this age of the cinema and pay TV and all of it. But the same audience, has become more interested because the quality is appealing to them.
As the sun sets on another day in Nigeria, the glow of television screens illuminating living room across the nation, it's been a journey of self-discovery, unity, and celebration of the Nigerian identity. The barriers may be many, most especially with the rise of internet and social media. However, we hope that the passion and the determination of those in the Nigerian television industry will shine even brighter to stand the test of time.